Joined once again by Lauren Fix, automotive expert and host of The Drive with Lauren and Carl. Her newest piece for The Blaze is out right now. It is taxpayers paid $8 million for electric buses that can't run in the cold in Vermont. What a surprise that is. Be sure to check that one out. Lauren, thanks so much for coming back on the program.
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, I was shocked to find the total was $8 million was spent on 6 buses. Now, if you divide that out, that's kind of a waste of money because you could buy probably 4 or 5 buses for each $1 million that were spent. So instead, this Burlington, Vermont decided to waste your taxpayer dollars again.
Yeah, let's go through this because honestly, you could buy 1 million buses. If none of them run, it doesn't really help you at all. It just winds up being a big rolling paperweight. But so, I mean, I know that that electric cars do struggle in extreme temperatures, right? Like when we say they're not running in Vermont, what are we talking about here?
Well, they're supposed to have a range of 258 miles. For public city buses, that's absurd because that's not enough when considering they're taking people to work. They're trying to get people on public transportation. And when public transportation isn't functioning properly and only has a range of 258 miles, that's when all conditions are perfect. That's a problem. So those buses are now parked outside the building in Burlington, Vermont. And this is not just Burlington, by the way. This is across the entire upper half of the country. That includes Buffalo, New York, Chicago, you name it, just take the upper half of the country. And so because of potential fire hazards and all this, leaving them on the charger for long periods of time because of the cold weather and the slow charge, because it means a slow charge as well as shortened range, these vehicles sit outside. So they charge even slower and they don't use them. So instead, all these cities across the upper half of the country went back to diesel buses, which go hundreds of miles on a full tank. And you can fill up a full tank at your filling station in minutes rather than hours and hours and hours.
It's amazing because the other part about this too, Lauren, is, and I don't know if this is different with the buses, but I know like people who own electric cars know that every manual tells you don't charge it to full capacity. So they say, hey, it goes to 250 miles, but don't ever do that because if you do that, it's going to wear down the battery. You can do it if you're going on a long trip or something, but generally speaking, they advise you not to do that regularly. With a bus that's going around a city, that doesn't work. If it's just a car at home, you're commuting to work, it's fine to go to 80% most days. When you're talking about a bus that needs to kind of keep going all day long, that's a disaster, isn't it?
It's an absolute disaster. People aren't getting to work. And when they get on the bus, there's no heat because that takes up energy, which is battery power. So then they find themselves in a situation where we don't have the heat on. So people are getting on the bus with children, disabled people that, need the older people. You want to keep them warm and you can't because they can't run the heaters because it shortens the distance even more. So on a car, you're going to lose about 1/3 of your range. So whether it's a Tesla or you name the brand, it's going to lose range because batteries don't like to work in extreme heat, which would be like Arizona and so forth, or extreme cold, which is Burlington, Vermont. And because of that, it even shortens the range even more. And the bus drivers get frustrated. People that ride them get frustrated. Buses don't arrive when they're supposed to, and you don't get to where you need to be.
Riding a bus is already a miserable experience. As I remember Weird Al telling us many, many years ago, and he was very much right when he sang Another One Rides the Bus. I won't sing the whole lyrics for you here, Lauren, but I think you know I'm right on that one. Let me go to a different topic, and this has been like the bane of my existence for a very long time. We've talked a lot about the endangerment finding. This is something that went through, and the Obama administration said basically, hey, the whole global warming thing, that's real. CO2 is affecting your life, and that way we can regulate every part of your life. That has been luckily pulled down by the Trump administration, pending many, many legal challenges, of course. But a great thing that Zeldin and the EPA and, of course, the Trump administration was able to accomplish. So all that is background to part of this is the start-stop feature of your car. If you've ever pulled up to a stop sign and as you stop the car, your car turns off, and then when you start accelerating again, it turns back on. You know how annoying that feature is. This is just mercifully going away, isn't it, Lauren?
Yes, this is fantastic news. Credit to Lee Zeldin because he was on this from day one. Now, the endangerment finding is a very interesting situation. And when they started talking about removing the greenhouse gases, I actually spoke in front of Congress, which was my first time and an interesting experience, to say the least. Of course, everyone that they had on speaking was for leaving it the way it was, and I was probably one of the few people speaking against it. But the reason that it made sense is the Chevron deference, which was removed under the Supreme Court, saying that because the rules say what they do, that's what the rules are. So under these unelected bureaucrats, they were expanding it to what the rules didn't say. And that meant mandating electric vehicles, controlling the start-stop technology that they mandated on the manufacturers, all these things that Lee Zeldin has removed forever. And this is not like the Congressional Review Act where they took the powers away from California, stopped the mandate. This is permanent. This is saying that if you want to change the rules, it has to go through Congress. You can't just make the rules up as you wish because the rules didn't say that. You have to go with what the rules did say, and that's what the Supreme Court put into place. And that's why it took so long for this to become the actual rules. I know that Glenn Beck did something on this too, and he had Lee Zeldin on. It was very interesting. And what I learned that I didn't know when I first worked with Lee Zeldin, trying to get the push through my side of it, which is the same as yours, stop the start-stop technology, that's a bonus of removing all of this, in addition to no longer giving car manufacturers, which we all knew about, that free little 1 mile per gallon for the corporate average fuel economy, because they were being fined for not meeting certain fuel economy standards. And under Obama, he wanted it 52 miles to the gallon. Car manufacturers can't produce that. They never got above 30. And the only car manufacturer that made that was Honda. The rest of them couldn't make it because they make trucks. So if you average out everything you sell, it's not going to work. Of course, the supercar manufacturers were never going to make it. And they calculated that cost into the cost of cars. And it also made cars very boring looking. They all had to be aerodynamic, lightweight, not necessarily about safety, but about making them all look the same, like a Lada if you lived in Russia.
Yeah, yes, a classic. It's funny, Lauren, because you mentioned that number real quick, 1 mile per gallon, and it sounds like it's just a number you're throwing out, though. But that's not.
No.
That's the actual estimate of if everything worked with the start-stop feature. That was the sell of it. It would save 1 mile per gallon, which to me, to frustrate every car owner in America, doesn't exactly seem worth it.
Right. I don't care where you stand politically. People universally do not like start-stop technology. And in reality, you're saving about a tablespoon of fuel. So when this came out, my first job, because I work with all the car brands, is I sent an email out to every single car brand you can think of that's here in North America. And you know what they all said? We'll look into it. None of them said, we'll remove it as soon as possible. We'll offer a software update. We'll help people get rid of it. No, they left it in place. I'm not sure if they think the next administration is going to put it back into place, but I'm going to continue to pressure every single car brands as I see them in person, talk to executives personally. I'm going to email them. I'm going to drive them crazy. Say, you got to remove this and allow people to remove it off of older cars. I mean, I don't have it on my car. I'm driving a 2016, but I have tons of friends, and it's the first complaint they have. Either there's no way to shut it off, or I have to start the car and shut it off.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, it's comical. My wife has a giant gas guzzling SUV that is completely inefficient, but it has this stupid feature on it, and it automatically turns on every time you turn on the car. So you have to physically do it, and it's just so annoying. I swear, Lauren, this goes back to the old days. I swear that one of the reasons why people hate this so much is because they're used to that horror, the feeling of horror when you come to a stop sign and your car would stall. I remember this when I was younger. I had older cars, and that meant I was, oh no, I'm blocking the road. My car just died. Right. It sends you back to that moment. Nobody likes that moment. It's terrible. And the car manufacturers are like, well, 1 mile per gallon. Let's put everybody through that horror show every day.
But there's more to this, and this is what no one's talking about. There's a safety factor that's involved. So you're at an intersection, you're waiting to make a left turn, and somebody runs a light, or somebody's coming at you, and you're like, oh my gosh, your natural reaction, obviously, is to hit the gas to avoid the situation. That 2-second delay, even 1 second delay, is the difference between being a part of an accident or not. And that 1 second should be of a concern to the Department of Transportation, NHTSA, and everybody else saying, hold on, there's a safety factor involved. And I don't want to put people at risk when they're trying to reduce traffic accidents. And think about all these autonomous cars. Do they have that too? I don't want to be in a car that has a 2 or 3 second delay while it waits to start back up, and all my safety features aren't working. My air conditioning's not working. My heater's not working. That's absurd. People hate it. like I said, I don't care where you stand on the political spectrum. People don't like it, and manufacturers need to offer software change, or some company is going to make a lot of money saying, plug this into your onboard diagnostics underneath, and we can remove it. And it costs $100. I'd pay that.
I'd pay that in a second to do
Me
that.
too.
Let me
Make a lot of money.
Yeah, you really would. One other thing about this stop-start situation before I let you go. You wrote a piece about this. One of the things I was told my entire life was the most damaging thing you can do to your engine is turning it off and turning it back on, turning it off and turning it back
Correct.
on. Like, that's what I was always told. Now, my understanding is they have improved that a little bit, but you talked to ASE Master Technician Greg Damon. I want to read this quote real quick. This is about the start-stop feature. Mechanically, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Constant restarts accelerate wear on starter motors, even reinforced ones. Batteries cycle harder and require more expensive replacements. Engine components face repeated stress, especially during warm restarts when lubrication isn't instantaneous. In shops, mechanics see higher failure rates, specialized repairs, and higher bills. All of that complexity and cost to chase a single mile per gallon on a spreadsheet. I mean, it can't lay it out better than that. This is not only bad for your safety, bad for your sanity, but also terrible for your car.
Right, but you pay the bill. It's not like you're going to go to the car manufacturer and go, hey, you know that start-stop you put in my car cost me, $3,000 in repairs. And personally, I have a vehicle that did have a problem that they call them cam phasers. I won't get technical, but what they failed because of start-stop technology, and I found a way to bypass it in that particular vehicle because it actually caused engine damage. And I got stuck with the bill. It was $7,500. And I'm like, well, hold on. This should go back to the car brand. And instead of them paying the bill, they basically said, that's on you. So how does that help anyone? So you save a mile a gallon, but you end up with a bill for a battery, a starter, an engine damage. Who pays that? You do.
Every single time. Lauren Fix, automotive expert, host of The Drive with Lauren and Carl. Head over to The Blaze and check out her new piece. It's Taxpayers Paid $8 million for electric buses that can't run in the cold in Vermont. Also about the start-stop, it stop stiffed. EPA kills annoying automatic engine shutoff. Thank God. Thank you, Lee Zeldin, for being inspired by God to stop that feature. Lauren, we appreciate it. Thanks so much for coming on the program.
Thanks.
If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this, and check out our car review channel, Car Smarts. You can support me by buying me a cup of coffee, and if you want even more content, check out the links in the description. I'm Lauren Fix. Thank you so much for watching.